Welcome down to the Malted Man Cave. I'm your host Keith. Tonight I'm going to be reviewing a Dalmore, which many of you know is not necessarily my favorite distillery. All right, so as I said, tonight I'm going to be reviewing a Dalmore. As I said in the intro, Dalmore is not necessarily one of my favorite distilleries. In fact, I tend to hate on them quite a bit. Most of that is probably less to do with the actual whiskey, but the practices that they use there. You know, lower ABVs, they chill filter, a lot of times they add color. Oh my gosh, I think they might add the most color out of any distillery. Well, it's close. Definitely in the top 3 would be my guess. But if they do things right, they actually do have some pretty good whiskeys. And I would venture to say, without ruining the review, this is definitely one of them. So I have to give a big shout out to George and Amy Kaplan, who generously provided me with this ginormous sample. As I said before, you know, we try to just do whole bottles, but every once in a while, there's certain bottles that I'm not going to be able to pay $400 or $500 to get. And if I get it, I would love to review it for you guys. And this is one of those. So George and Amy, thank you guys so much. I would not have been able to taste this without you guys, so I really appreciate it. So the story behind King Alexander III, this particular whiskey, is that King Alexander III, I believe, was out hunting with Colin of Kintail, I think in about 1263. And apparently Colin of Kintail was the chief of Clan Mackenzie, which is one of the most well-known clans of Scotland. And apparently a stag charged the king and almost killed the guy. But apparently Colin of Kintail fearlessly, as they put in the literature, jumped in front of him and saved his life. So after that, King Alexander III awarded the Clan Mackenzie the 12-point stag emblem for their clan, kind of their royal crest or their emblem of their clan, which Dalmore, I don't know if you guys can see on this small, they always famously put on their bottles, which, gotta admit, it's pretty cool. And that's one of the big reasons why I bought my first bottle of Dalmore 12, when I was really new into whiskey. And I was like, man, that bottle is cool looking. Unfortunately, the bottle of whiskey I drank was not as cool as the bottle was, as cool looking as the bottle was, but I digress. So anyways, this particular whiskey, and this may have changed, but at one point it was kind of the only whiskey to be matured by 6 different whiskeys. So Balvenie 12 has their double wood, then they have their Balvenie 17 double wood, then Laphroaig has their triple wood, and obviously some other distilleries. I think Balvenie has triple wood too. Pretty sure. Triple cast. Anyways. So this is actually a sextuple wood. It's got 6 different types of cask or barrels or drums that are used in it. And I believe the 6 are obviously bourbon barrels. Then it was Cabernet Sauvignon French Barriques, sherry butts from Jerez. There was, what else was there? Madeira drums. There was port pipes from Douro and Marcella casks from Sicily. So that's quite a bit. And one thing I will say, without ruining the review, is this is a very, 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 very complex whiskey. For me, there's something about, even when Dalmore does not, add all the crazy color, and even when they have higher ABVs, even in independent bottles that I've had at Dalmore, which are very good, there still is something about the distillate that I'm not crazy about. It's still good, but it's just not my favorite. And everybody has their favorites. Some people love certain distillates that I don't like, and vice versa. But there's a plummy note to it, and like a sugar splenda note with a lot of the Dalmores, which sometimes is exaggerated when they add color, or they, different things that they do that makes it worse. But even without that, there's this kind of unique character that is not necessarily my favorite. But without further ado, I don't want to ruin this review. Let me go ahead and get into this whiskey. Tell you a little bit about it. Again, thank you guys so much. Thank you, George and Amy. You guys are so generous. So, without further ado, onto the nose. very complex. Now this, unfortunately, I'm going to put it in here. I know it's 40% ABV, which, man, I wish it was a higher ABV. It's chill filtered. About 99.99999% that is chill filtered. And you wouldn't think with all of those wine casks that they would need to add color, but I wouldn't put it past Dalmore at all. They've been known to color and chill filter even the elixir of life if they had it. So we're going to have to assume that it's colored, but it may not. If I can find it, I'll put it there. So immediately that plummy note. So sometimes I love plum notes and sometimes it's like a little bit overkill. I'm actually enjoying the plum note in this. In Dalmore 12, it's like overbearing, but I'm actually enjoying it here. I get a lot of plummy notes, especially with Madeira drums. Obviously you can get it with sherry and port, but I really get it here. And I'm guessing it's more from the Madeira. Speaking of a really good Madeira whiskey, what was that? There's a Glenmorangie. Of course, I'm going to forget on camera. That really, really surprised me with how good it was. It was a Glenmorangie. Crap. Put it right there. But yeah, it had a Madeira, and it was very, very good. That is Madeira whiskey done right. But it works in here too. So you can smell all the Marcella cask, you can smell the Madeira, the sherry, the bourbon is there lurking in the background. So like there's some good cedar wood. There's some good balanced oaky notes in there. So cedar wood, plums, apricot, peaches. I want to knock down more, but this is a really good whiskey. I don't know if I'm going to pay $300 to $400 for it, but it is a very good whiskey. And it's amazing being at 40%. I do not like very many 40% ABV whiskeys. I do not, that are chill filtered and possibly color added. So this is a really good whiskey. This could probably be incredible if it was like cask strength or 46% or 48%, not chill filtered. So, Jordan Patterson, I don't know why he doesn't kind of, I know he knows how to make good whiskey. I'm surprised he doesn't assert his very charismatic personality onto Dalmore, like, hey, let's do things the right way. Every distillery has their own, niche, kind of part of the market. Like, all right, we're going to do nice whiskey, but it's a little bit cheaper, and we're going to do lower ABVs and charge this much. Some people are like craft presentation, but we're going to charge a little bit more. I don't know. I just wish he, would assert himself and make the whiskey really, really good. Then there's kind of that Splenda sugar substitute that I was talking about. That is the one negative on the nose for me. It's not bad. In fact, there's so many other good notes that it really doesn't detract too much from it, but it's slightly there, and it's just not like a rich, like sugar. It's like sugar substitute. So not quite as good. Black tea, manuka honey, pipe tobacco, nutmeg, maybe even a little bit of clove. So excellent nose. The only possible negative thing is that it's not quite as candied, like real rich sugar. It's more kind of Splenda sugar substitute. Everything else is delicious. Into the palate. Now this is one positive thing that I would say for this. I have gotten, like an Ardbegs or other like really sherried whiskeys and peated whiskeys. I got this like tobacco, pipe tobacco flavors, especially on the nose. This is the first whiskey that so I don't chew tobacco anymore, and I really haven't for most of my life. There was like a small period when I was in the military that maybe I'd throw a chew in every once in a while. I had a bad experience with wintergreen grizz that kind of steered me away from using chewing tobacco. Plus, it makes your teeth yellow and nasty. It's not good for you. But occasionally, a few times in my life, I've had it. And this really reminds me of Red Man chewing tobacco, when you feel like the tobacco juice kind of like flowing in, it literally tastes like tobacco juice. And it's actually very interesting. I've never had a whiskey taste like tobacco juice like this, along with all like the plums. It's like almost like peach black tea. There's a certain brand, I don't know if it's Brisk or Lipton or who it is, but it's peach black tea, and almost like there's like honey in it too. Very, very good note on the palate with that kind of tobacco juice lurking in the background. Raisins, of course. Prune juice. Some nice cedar wood to kind of give it some balance so it's not overly cloying. That plummy note, man. It's almost borderlining on too strong, but it works. It works. It's not too much plums like I get on Dalmore 12 and 15. Prune juice, like I said, raspberry and strawberry marmalade, and maybe even a slight bit of bitter oak, but then slight bit of bitter dark chocolate. The fruits are way more prominent. They're way more upfront, but there's just slightest bit of dark chocolate in the background. So overall, really good nose and palate for only 40% ABV, chill filtered and probably colored. Maybe they don't color. I don't know. I'll get that information to you. But anyways, it is really good. There's a few negatives in there. It's good. So, on to the finish. I have to uphold my Dalmore hating position, but I'm afraid this is a pretty good whiskey. This is a delicious whiskey. Some negatives to it, but it's definitely a good whiskey. So the finish is not very strong, as you would probably guess, being 40% ABV, chill filtered, blah, 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 blah. It's kind of got that plummy sugar, Splenda sugar substitute, which isn't the best, but it does have some nice strawberry jam, raspberry marmalade, peach black tea. I like black tea and I like putting honey in it, and it definitely has that aftertaste of like peach black tea with some honey in it. It's just very thin, and then it's gone. So Malted Man Cave Mark, there's a lot of really good positive in this, and there's a few negatives. So I'm gonna give this, but it's a good whiskey, and you could tell they had some pretty decent casks, and I want to award them for being creative and using that many casks in one whiskey. So I'm going to give it an 89 out of 100. This could probably be a 92 or a 93 or even a 94 if it was 46 to 48% ABV, if it wasn't chill filtered. Again, I don't know, if it's colored or not, but they just have a nasty habit of adding E150A. Dalmore could be so good if they didn't do certain stuff, and this is a sign of how good it can be, because this is a good whiskey. Just got to do a couple things differently, guys, and it could be good. But even I'm saying that, and I don't necessarily particularly love the distillate, but I can see how it's a good whiskey to a lot of people. So 89 out of 100, probably not worth the $300 to $400, but it is definitely a good whiskey. And George and Amy, I am very, very glad I got to taste this. Even sometimes if there's whiskeys that I don't absolutely love, for me, because I'm not made of money, there's certain whiskeys that I want to know what it tastes like, and I can't if it's like $300 to $400, So very, very appreciative that I got to taste this. Thank you guys so much. So 89 out of 100, very good whiskey. Hope you guys are all doing well in spite of all this COVID-19 craziness. Hopefully things are going to be opening up soon. Hope you and your families are well. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, subscribe, hit the notifications bell, and remember, Scotch is king.